Hey guys! Today I am doing my January book haul, showing y'all all of the books that came into my possession in the month of January. Let's get into it. I started the month by going to Barnes & Noble as per usual, and with my book buying this year, I have lists on my Goodreads account. Y'all can check out those lists, just linked down below. It's sorted by genre of what books I want to buy from each genre, and in January it was science fiction, and I am buying the highest rated science fiction books that are on my TBR, and these are the ones that I came across. First, we have The Long Way to a Small and Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. Oh my gosh, let me tell you, Becky Chambers is so popular. Two of her books were actually on my screenshot that I took when I went into the store, but this was the only one that I could find, and this is the winner of the Hugo Award for Best Series. Lots of promising elements there. Let's see what it's about. When Rosemary Harper joins the crew of the Wayfarer, she isn't expecting much. The patched up ship has seen better days, but it offers her everything she could possibly want. A spot to call home, a chance to explore the far off corners of the galaxy, and some distance from her past. And nothing could be further from what she's known than the crew of the Wayfarer, and this is the Wayfarer series, by the way. The journey through the galaxy is full of excitement, adventure, and mishaps for the Wayfarer team. And along the way, Rosemary comes to realize that a crew is a family, and that family isn't necessarily the worst thing in the universe, as long as you actually like them. This sounds like a sci-fi that you can definitely relate to real life scenarios with trying to get away from everything, found family, and all of that. And I think that's one of the best things that sci-fi can do, is make it still seem like this could happen to you even if it's in outer space. Next, I did pick up a sequel. I'm definitely going to have to reread the first book, but this series is a retelling of Les Mis set in outer space. That's all I'm going to tell y'all because I don't want to spoil anything with y'all since this is a sequel, but I did really enjoy the first book. This is Between Burning Worlds by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell. Again, this is young adult science fiction. I only picked up those two books at Barnes & Noble this month. I then went over to Target, and this is a poetry collection that I've been seeing everywhere, especially towards the end of the year. It was on a lot of people's best books of the year, and then Read with Jenna, that book club, had this as one of their picks, and I was like, okay, I feel like this is my time to pick up this book because I did love the one like essay collection I read by Mary Oliver in 2024. It is the nature writing, so vivid, so spring. I want to read more from her. I picked up Devotions by Mary Oliver at Target, and this is a definite and enduring collection of her best works. So it's like a best of poetry collection. You know how like bands will do the best of Guns N' Roses or whatever. So I picked up that one. I had a book pre-ordered, and this book is long awaited. I used to watch the YouTube channel 8 Passengers. It then came out that the mother in that family was extremely abusive to her children and was involved in somewhat of a cult. The oldest daughter has written a memoir telling her story, finally getting her story out there, and that is The House of My Mother by Sherry Frankie. It says, from eldest child Sherry Frankie, the shocking true story behind the viral 8 Passengers family vlog and the hidden abuse she suffered at the hands of her mother, and how in the face of unimaginable pain she found freedom and healing. And Sherry does narrate the audiobook, so I highly recommend giving this book a go because I think it's so important to see what social media can do to a family and just the cruel side of social media and family vlogging. Y'all, I swear, I was only gonna get 2 books from Book of the Month 2025. Every month, I was just gonna go in and get 2. This happened. I got 5. I have zero chill whatsoever. I did have this book. I knew I was going to get this book because it was on, again, a lot of people's best books of 2024, and it sounded really appealing to me. That is The Other Valley by Scott Alexander Howard. This is speculative fiction. We have this one town, and then if you go one direction, you're going one direction, but you're going 10 years into the future. Other direction, 10 years into the past, and then the present is right in the middle. That just seems so intriguing, and I'm really excited to see how this author goes about that. This is one that I got as an add-on. It is Playworld by Adam Ross, a fiction, big, and it is about a child star. In the fall of 1980, when I was 14, a friend of my parents named Naomi Shaw fell in love with me. She was 36, a mother of two, and married to a wealthy man. Like so many things that happened to me that year, it didn't seem strange at the time. And when we read like books about child stars and even famous people, it's usually told at a female perspective, and this is a male perspective, and then all of that is very different, and I haven't read anything like that. And I do love books that are about like fictional famous people, you know, a la Taylor Jenkins Reid, that kind of thing. So that's what intrigued me here. Then I have a book by this author that I haven't read, but y'all know I've been loving ancient history for months now. And when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never read a book about Babylon, and that sounds really fascinating. And that is Babylonia by Constanta Kazadi. This is a fantastical retelling. A common woman, the governor she married, the king who loved them both. Welcome to the empire of gods and men, and the one queen destined to rule them all. This is another one that I've seen on several book subscription services and a lot of people's anticipated books for 2025, and that is The Three Lives of Kate Kay by Kate Fagan. I think that's really interesting. I know they're spelled differently, but to be writing a character that has essentially the same name as you, I don't think I've ever seen that before. This has been compared to like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which we just talked about. I really enjoyed. An anonymous best-selling author reveals the secrets from her past and why she's been on the run. So some mystery elements there. Lastly, I picked up Isaac's Song by Daniel Black. I love Don't Cry for Me by Daniel Black. It was such an emotional and moving read, and I'm sure he's going to do it again with this one. The return with poignant, emotionally exuberant novel about a young queer black man finding his voice in 1980 Chicago. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be moving. Now for my random acquisitions throughout the month. I did something that I don't recommend doing, but you know, sometimes you gotta do it. I saw a random book at Target that I thought was pretty. I had never heard of it, and I bought it. That is North is the Night by Emily Rath, which I did find out that I do own a book by this author. It's probably somewhere behind me, and that is Pucking Around, which is like a hockey polyamory romance, because I was like, whoa, that seems so out there. I gotta try that because, again, we want unique reading experiences. And this one is such a pretty addition. So let me show y'all that dust jacket and still falling out. The end pages, then the, you know, that itself, then that, and then y'all saw the sprayed edges and the end pages in the back. Super beautiful book. Instantly drew me in, especially this time of year, just seeing the wintry. January is the winter month. It's peak winter, and this is Finnish folklore. In the depths of the Finnish wilderness, more than wolves roam in the dark woods. When a death goddess attacks the village, best friends Siri and Aina prove helpless to stop her from dragging Aina into Tuonela, the mythical underworld. In this sweeping fantasy adventure, perfect for fans of Adrian Young and Genevieve Gornischek, hope and love must conquer even death itself. We're gonna try it, and hopefully it works out for me. This one was on my to-buy list. It was on my TBR, but at the time I was like, I'm not sure, but it looks really intriguing, so I'm going to buy it. And that is Witchcraft of Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I've read 2 Grady Hendrix books, and I think they were good books, but I've never given one of his books a 5-star. So hopefully it happens. We're going to keep trying with him, and this one just really drew me in because it's kind of witchy, and y'all know I love a good witchy book, and it even has a St. Augustine setting, which is one of my favorite places, and set in the 1970s, which is a decade that is just so like brutal, so gritty, but so romanticized. Where can you go wrong? So they call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grew up too fast. And they're sent to the Wellwood House in St. Augustine, Florida, where unwed mothers are hidden by their families to have their babies in secret, to give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. I had another pre-order. I had no idea Marcus Zuzak was coming out with another book, and I've loved all of his books. He's one of my auto-buy authors, so I had to buy it. And it is an animal book. And animal books, I'm always reaching for those because I know they will make me emotional. And that's what I want with my reading. I want to feel moved. I want a book to be powerful. And I know that Marcus Zuzak can do that with animals. With Bridge of Clay, which is a 5-star book for me, the pets and all played a big part in that story. And I think that's gonna bleed over into this one, even if it is nonfiction. And that is 3 Wild Dogs and the Truth, a memoir by Marcus Zuzak. This is about his family taking in 3 rescue dogs and their lives of those dogs. And y'all know I have, like, all my pets were rescues. They were strays or rescues, somewhere in need of a home. I think I'll be able to relate to it, and y'all know I love animals and hope that this book is as great as his other books. Now we're moving on to the books that I got for free. I did hit up some little free libraries in Columbia, South Carolina, and then in Darlington, South Carolina. We're starting out with this one, The Giver by Lois Lowry. This is kind of dystopian, utopian. I think the line between dystopian and utopian is very blurry. I kind of want to do like a whole discussion on that utopians just seem too perfect, that there has to be something nitty-gritty underneath. But I'm wanting to read books that I read in school as a kid, and I read this in my freshman year of high school, I'm pretty sure, and that was around the time the movie came out as well. We watched the movie in class, and I remember a lot of people did, and myself included, liked this book because, again, this was when dystopians were pretty popular. I don't even know how to tell you what this book is about. I don't really remember, so we're going to read the back here. Life in the community where Jonas lives is idyllic, and I remember the character being named Jonas, and we all thought it was funny because the Jonas brothers, but okay. Designated birth mothers produce new children, who are assigned to appropriate family units, 1 male, 1 female to each. Citizens are assigned their partners and their jobs. No one thinks to ask questions. Everyone obeys. The community is a precisely choreographed world without conflict, inequality, divorce, unemployment, injustice, or choice. So that sounds very much utopian, but it's like ... Everyone is the same except Jonas. At the ceremony of 12, the community's 12-year-olds eagerly accept their predetermined life assignments. But Jonas is chosen for something special. He begins instruction in his life's work with a mysterious old man known only as the Giver. Gradually, Jonas learns that power lies in feelings, but when his own power is put to the test when he loves, he may not be ready. Is it too soon or too late? And I've never seen this cover of the book. I know it has the old man, but the cover that I always remember as a kid is like a black mass market with the old man in white. That's what I remember, but I do want to read books from my youth. We've made it to the last 3 books now. This one I stole from my grandmother's house yesterday because I want to read a book. I don't necessarily know if I should say by, because there's like 50 presidents, but I want to read a book about every president and first lady, you know, going from George to where we are now, because I think it is important to know history, even if you like it or not, to educate yourself and be aware. There's a great quote from Cicero that I talked about in last week's vlog about why history is so important. And if you ignore history, you're ignorant and you stay a child forever, and not in a good way. But this is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. This is a thick boy. It is heavy. Barack went off with this one. And I did check out a little free library with like all my family yesterday, and I picked up 2 books. The first one I had never heard of, A Touch of Stardust by Kate Alcock, but this is going like behind the scenes. It says, comes a blockbuster novel that takes you behind the scenes of the filming Gone with the Wind, while turning the spotlight of the passionate romance between the dashing leading man Clark Gable and the blithe, free-spirited actress Carol Lombard. Y'all know, as I was saying, I love books about celebrities, fictional celebrities. Now, these are about real celebrities, but historical fiction, and I've never read anything that was about like actual real people, but being, you know, old Hollywood. Old Hollywood was spicy. There was a lot of drama and scandal. I love that. So that's why I picked up this one. And I do love this cover as well. I think it's super pretty. Lastly, I'm from the same little free library. Honestly, I could have got so many books there, and they had one of my favorite books, which is The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton. Highly recommend that. But I picked up The Romanov Empress by C.W. Gorder. I have several books by this author. It was free, so I was like, I haven't read any of her books, but I'm gonna pick it up because Russian history, super interesting. It says the reader is whisked from the stately splendor of the Russian court in the late 1860s to the tumultuous end with the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, seen through the eyes of someone who was as impressive and as complicated as the time in which she reigned. We love a complicated woman story. Those are all of the books that came into my possession in the month of January. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have you read any of these books? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it through this whole video, leave a snow emoji in the comments below. And as always, comment, rate, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye! If you are familiar with my videos, you're used to seeing Sherman at the end of them. Sadly, Sherman has since passed away, but I would still like to encourage you guys to help your local shelters. Sherman was at the Darlington County Humane Society in rural South Carolina. I always have their link down below in the description if you guys would like to help them, but also help your local shelters as well. You can do that by donating, sharing posts like this one, volunteering, fostering, and adopting, which it's great to do all of those things. Great to help your community, great to help the animals in your community, and I cannot recommend it enough. All of my pets were rescues, they were strays or from animal shelters, and I love them so much, and I know how much love they can give, so knowing these pets at the shelter can equally give that much love, it's amazing. And y'all should totally take part and help out those local animal shelter pets, and please help them.